Very good. Alexander, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing okay. Thank you. My name is Yonatan Botach, and with us today is Alexander Papkov, aka Alex in Wonderland. Alexander, why are you called Alex in Wonderland? Do you
I
like
don't.
conspiracy and you like the rabbit and Alice in Wonderland? Is that what you like?
No, I don't like that book. It was all your idea. It's your fault.
Ah, okay. You're so innocent. I love that. I love that. I love innocent people. And Alexander, you're in Israel now, and you're quite a famous guy. People love to hear your conspiracies, which sometimes have factual basis. I'm shocked. I'm
Yeah,
shocked.
I try. I try.
Yeah, I know. The conspiracies also, they try to help you. So this is good. This is good. Okay, tell us about you, Alexander, very shortly, because we are talking to outside audience, outside Israel. Please tell us about yourself, just a little bit.
Well, I listen to all the conspiracy talk, and I get convinced relatively easily that it's true when they're showing you actual facts and not just testimonies or eyewitnesses. But in our world, it's usually true that the people with power commit criminal acts as a group,
Ooh.
and that's the definition of a conspiracy. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I believe that bad people do bad things.
Mm-hmm. So politicians are bad people. Okay, I understand where you're coming from. But God forbid, Alexander, you don't believe there is a deep state anywhere, do you? I'm sure you don't. I hope not.
Uh,
Eh,
Somewhere it can be found, but it's
somewhere
a
it can be
criminal
found.
enterprise, whatever they call themselves these days.
I thought you were going to tell me that everything is deep state. It's the entire thing is deep state. And sometimes I feel that way. However, Alexander, yesterday, January 20th, 2025, I think it was a historical day because finally the deep state is in huge danger. Maybe by another deep state taking over, maybe. I don't think so. And I'm telling all the audience in Israel and outside that I think President Trump is probably the most significant figure. And decades before he came and will be decades after he's gone. What do you think?
Um, and the deep state as a criminal enterprise has existed for decades, even not exactly centuries, but at least since it was formalized with the 1913 Creature of Jekyll Island Agreement. Before that, you
Wait,
had robber
once again,
barons,
I didn't hear you. 1913, what happened?
where they formed the plans of the Federal Reserve, taking the control of finances away from Congress, as was stipulated in the Constitution, and into the private hands of the
Who was
banks.
the president at that time?
Mm,
It
Wilson.
wasn't Truman. Oh no, Truman is much later. It was not, let's see, Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt. No, he was in 1920. We don't know.
Wilson.
Okay, we need to check. Okay, fine, continue. So
Yeah.
they established the Federal Reserve, okay, and that's a deep state, you think?
And that is the economical basis of the deep state, where you have an unaccountable body that independently makes decisions that affect the entire world and controls the purse strings of the American government, and out of that, of the entire world. And
Okay,
the problem,
Alexander,
yeah.
and you know, we are aiming also for Israeli audience. Their English may not be so fluent, so we're gonna try to limit this to, you know, most basic words. And I'm gonna ask you, Fort Knox. Fort Knox is where America keeps its gold, and that's the basis of its treasury. So you're
Allegedly.
telling me that in Fort Knox there is nothing? It's a hoax?
I
No
don't know
gold?
what is or is not in Fort Knox. I know that the people who decide how much the dollar is worth, we don't know who they are. Same situation in Israel. The Bank of Israel is not appointed by the government, is not accountable to the government. They operate as a cartel between the main Israeli banks, and they decide what the shekel is worth and what it is not worth.
Okay. And the exchange rates, they conspire with the US government, they conspire with China. Who do they conspire with?
We
Davos,
do not
Mr.
know.
Soros?
We do not know. This is
We
a
don't know.
secretive criminal enterprise. We do not know how they operate. We do
You
not
see?
even know who makes these decisions. Their board of directors is a secret.
I see. Well, I always tell my clients, I'm a lawyer, I always tell my clients, I don't know is the best answer because they can never prove you wrong. Yeah. Okay, very well. Let's go back to yesterday, January 20th. President Trump, the 47th, is back in office after he was the 45th. Which of his cabinet do you love the most? Which you don't like? Which you don't know about and would like to know more is interesting to you? Let's start. Who do you like the best?
I mean, it depends on the definition of cabinet. If you go only the specific ministers, portfolio holders, or in general advisory groups, because
well, let's start with the ministers.
I don't know. I guess Ramaswamy is the most hardcore of the bunch. I expect great things from him, and he is. The reason he was not nominated as vice president is because Trump felt that he was getting too close to rival him in popularity. Because
does it remind you of anyone in Israel when Trump feels this way? Does it remind you of anyone else in Israel doing the same thing and being accused of the same thing?
The closest example in Israel would be Moshe Feiglin.
No. When Trump is afraid of him because he would be too successful. I mean, come on, Alexander.
I don't know
Everyone
of any
says that about
Netanyahu.
That Netanyahu pushes all the people who might replace him, might overshadow him, pushes them away. People say that this is what happened with Gideon Sa'ar. Do you agree or disagree? And let's do that very short because that's not our topic.
Gideon Sa'ar is famously blackmailed by several crimes that he committed of a, let's say, indecent nature of his crimes.
Yeah,
they are well known.
Sexual nature. Okay, but this surfaced kind of recently, and when he was pushed out of the Likud, or maybe he pushed himself out. I think, Alexander, this came out before things were known about Gideon Sa'ar, about his adventures in that Tel Aviv bars. Adventures.
Listen, every high-ranking general in our army is also adventurous in those types of things, but you don't have it leaked usually. But it's well known. For some of them, I've personally seen it. So it was a system of strategic blackmail. They don't let you into the big boys club unless you're a criminal yourself. They don't want honest people up there at the top.
Good point. Well, let me tell you what I like about Trump is that he doesn't even hide that if he likes to do that, or if he does that, and if he says, grab them by the, you know what, he doesn't hide it. And I think people like this about him, that he seems to be honest about it. He doesn't play a saint. He doesn't play an angel. If he has faults, he will let you know about it, sometimes even too much so. But at least I like this about him. What about you? And let's make it short.
Compared to Lyndon Johnson or
what about Lyndon
Kennedy,
Johnson?
He was
Lyndon Johnson was the most corrupt president. People say that.
Yeah, he was.
Why do you compare Trump to that?
No, I'm saying that they were very openly committing sexual assaults of a violent nature. Bill Clinton
Lyndon
bite the
Johnson.
lips. Yeah,
Lyndon Johnson, I think, was a stone, a piece of wood. Lyndon Johnson.
you are gravely mistaken. Lyndon Johnson was a maniacal pervert with several mistresses that he had children with, and he was very public of his extramarital affairs and violent rapes of various assistants in his life.
Mr. Papkov, you're reading all the conspiracy books, and this is
No,
why
I'm
we
listening
love
to Roger
hosting you.
Stone.
We love hosting you. Okay, Alice in Wonderland, she reads a lot of books. That's very nice. That's very nice. Who is the other president that you read so many conspiracies about? Who is it? Kennedy, I know. Marilyn Monroe, yeah. Who else?
Well, Bill Clinton.
Monica and the blue dress.
Not just Monica. There's a list of at least.
Oh, and the cigars. The cigars. Don't forget the cigars.
There's at least 15 women who publicly complained about him committing violent rapes.
Miss Perach. Perach. How do you say Perach in English?
Flower?
Miss Flower. Yeah. Actually, they brought her to Congress when they had the impeachment of Trump. They brought her to Congress. Flower or flowers or something that she accused him of. Whatever.
No.
But actually, you'd be surprised, Alexander. I liked Bill Clinton. I mean, I think his wife was awful because you couldn't trust a word that came out of her mouth. She lied and she lied and she broke all her phones and she erased 33,000 emails. And of course, she's not at all guilty for what happened in Benghazi, even though she was Secretary of State. So I didn't like her. But her husband, I liked him. And you know why I liked him? Because he was a human being and he had his faults.
He flew on Jeffrey Epstein's airplane only 22 times with the specific demand to not have his Secret Service escorts.
Okay, can I ask you a question, please? 22 times is more or less than Ehud Barak. How many times Ehud Barak flew on the plane?
Ehud Barak
and he was covering his face because it was so cold going there.
Ehud Barak went to his New York apartment and once to his Texas estate that we know of. We don't know.
Well, he wanted to see the pictures on the walls. He likes art. Why did he go there?
He, according to articles published by the New York Times, he was meeting there with a representative of the Rothschild family, a representative of the Democratic National Party.
Really?
And
wait, the Rothschild family representatives, they're represented by 14-year-old girls, virgins, all of them?
No,
I didn't know that. That's new. That's new for me.
No, what's her name? She, a lawyer working for Ariana de Rothschild of the Swiss branch of the family.
So that's why he went there and he covered his face. Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
He was conspiring.
I love your innocence. I love your innocence, Mr. Papkov. I love it. I love it. Let's continue. Let's talk about another Minister of State. His name is today, he assumed office, Mazel Tov and Siman Tov, and God be with you. What's his name, Mr. Papkov? And tell us about it.
Little Marco.
Huge Marco. Tell us about it. What do you know? I will supplement you.
Marco Rubio is a well-known politician. He's
how old is he? Where did he come from? What's his origin?
I'll have to check
53, 54 years old, parents from Cuba. And this is why he's so well versed with the Latin population. I mean, he's from Florida. Florida is like part Cuba is part of Florida, or Florida is part of Cuba. I don't know which way to describe it better. Huge Cuban population in Florida. And Marco Rubio, which I love the guy, he is from Florida and he's been in Senate, Alexander, I believe since 2010, meaning 14, 15 years is there. Very successful guy. He ran against Trump in 2016 and he dropped out. Ever since then, he's been supporting Trump. He loves Israel. He is strong for Israeli self-defense. And would that be a huge change when we're talking about the Department of State? Alexander, please elaborate and give us examples.
It's hard to say because just because you replace the top manager, it doesn't mean that the entire middle management, where many decisions are being made, will change.
Excellent point. Excellent point. Excellent point. Okay, we need to elaborate about this. Okay, so but nevertheless, you would agree with me that being on the very top and being pro-Israel, it's a huge change. You know what, Alexander, I don't remember the last time this happened. No? Yeah, even with Hillary Clinton, who was supposedly pro-Israeli, and now, honestly, to her credit, we should say that she was talking about Israel's right to defend itself against Hamas, and she was saying that during the hardest, most fierce days of the Gaza war. She was saying that. And she was attacked for saying that. I mean, the complete opposite of Kamala Harris. But Kamala Harris is so much more intelligent, of course. And she never has word salad like Hillary Clinton. Of course not.
We need to be unburdened by what has been.
Now she is so damn burdened. I love it. I love it. Oh, can I show you a picture, please?
Sure.
Please look at this. Please look at this picture. Alexander, my dear, do you see this picture? Yeah. Or am I showing it?
He is in his deep thoughts.
No. Be nice. Be nice, Alexander. You're gonna be nice. The man is finished. He's going home. That's fine. Bon voyage,
crimes against humanity. I have no mercy for him.
Okay. Well, no, but this time you're wrong. He's not falling asleep. He's not falling asleep. He's not falling asleep. Just tell me that you can see this picture. Do you see it?
Yeah.
All right. The one speaking, his name is Rabbi Harry something. I'm sorry, I forgot. So this is the inauguration yesterday, okay? And everybody's standing. And you're not Christian, so you don't know, but Christians, they close their eyes while saying prayer or hearing prayer and stuff. It's customary. The only one not closing his eyes, Alexander, is Trump. Trump has, I think, kind of saying, well, guys, it's okay. You can say whatever you want and all this, but I look at reality and God is not going to help me if I don't help myself. But Kamala Harris is closing her eyes. Look, do you see my pointer? This is another nice Christian man pretending to be Jewish, dog him off.
Oh, that's...
I don't know how many kids he has. Do you know how many kids he has and how many mothers? I don't know.
More than the official version.
That's for sure. That's for sure. And J.D. Vance next to Trump, deeply spiritual, not faking it, for sure. But the main point that why I brought this picture, Alexander, is because the speaker is a rabbi, and he was called as the first clergyman, the first, to bless the day, to bless Donald Trump, and to bless America and the venture they're going into, the adventure actually. And he had a very good speech. And for once, I heard a Jewish man, Alexander, that did not apologize and did not, being a sycophant, and he did not try to curry favor with anyone listening to him. He spoke about Israel. He spoke about the hostages. He spoke about Israel being safe. He spoke about having peace in the Middle East. He did not mention no Palestinians. He did not mention Gaza. Like so many other Jewish people do these days, that they have to show that they're compassionate for Palestinian suffering, which I feel and you feel, all of us feel, except no one says and tells them, hey, you caused it to yourself. You had no business coming on the 7th of October. So his speech was very nice. But my main point, Alexander, and then I'll let you take over, is that he was invited first. The first clergyman was a rabbi. And this is no coincidence, Alexander. And after him came a black pastor who blew the roof of the place because he spoke. He jived the audience. And I love to hear black people do that. They're experts in oratory and in talking, and he was so good, the black guy. And after him came this white pastor, boring as hell. I mean, I'm sure very deeply spiritual, but everyone then closed their eyes because they took a nap. So we spoke about the rabbi, and I got a whole bunch of other pictures to show you. You want to say anything about the rabbi?
No, it's just nice that we can see that once again the AIPAC party line has not been followed. Our, as in Israel's big problem in its American relations, that people were in the mistaken belief that AIPAC, which has become a radical leftist organization, represents the views of the Israeli government and even of the Israeli people, which was totally not true. And I'm glad that it's finally showing in such a public way that the views of Judaism as a whole, and not the minor sects that manage to influence policy in America, are coming to the front stage.
You're calling AIPAC minor? Oh, nice of you. I don't think so.
The people who make decisions in AIPAC are minor.
Excuse me? Well, you hope and saying that, yeah, okay. And don't count your chickens before they hatch, saying, I'm so happy that this is happening. You're a bit optimistic, overly optimistic. You're optimistic, but not realistic. Okay, nothing happened yet. And by the way, if you attack AIPAC, why don't you mention at least a little bit the fantastic Zionistic Jewish-loving Jewish organization called ADL.
These people
crazy. They are completely Palestinian-run organization, and I'm shocked every time I hear them, what they say and how they act. Oh, we are defending the Jewish people against anti-Semitism. How? By inciting for anti-Semitism, by telling how bad Israel is, by telling the world how the evil things, atrocities happening in Gaza. That's ADL.
They commit an even worse crime, which is people who are moderate or indifferent are attacked through censorship originating from the ADL, trying to suppress their speech and turning them, creating hateful views among people who did not previously have hateful views for Israel.
Good point.
They associate Israel with the ADL.
Good point. And you know what? I'm going to go into the second point I want to show you, and that's about the hostages. How much they took center stage yesterday in the inauguration in a very, I think, unintended way. Their families. I'm going to show you pictures. But before we go that, I want to tell you. So I want to share a personal story with you. Okay, listen to this. So I know this lady in Los Angeles, she is a 16-year-old son. He's slightly autistic, very nice boy, slightly autistic. So that means because he's slightly autistic, he is on social media a lot of the time. And And now she's been seeing me, so I think she's influenced by the Israeli point of view and what is happening in Gaza and so on. And I tell her, listen, I as a lawyer, I always had Arabic apprentices. They did their intern in my office, and they became lawyers. And I had more Arabic secretaries than Jewish ones. And we have Arabs in the Supreme Court, and it was this Supreme Court justice who sent President Katsav and Olmert to jail, and they're in all over the medical profession, and they were in Israeli government, and we have MPs, members of parliament in Israel. They can say whatever they want against the Israeli Jewish society, and no one can stop. Yeah, well, yeah, all right, that's another point we can talk about. But when she calls me, she says, my son, I asked him a question about what he's watching, and then he told her, you're a Zionist. 16 years old boy telling his mom, 50 years old, you're a Zionist. Now, they are Christians, okay? And I was shocked. I said, do you even understand the depth and the significance of what he told you? A boy would call his mom, you're a Zionist? I said, what is he watching? What is he watching? Do you even follow? And she says, oh, yeah. About 6 months ago, he got to know a girl online. She's from Eritrea, and her parents emigrated to Canada. And same age, 15, 16. And they got to talk. And the girl tells him from Canada, 15, 16 years old, if you want to be in touch with me, you have to convert.
To Islam.
Well, not to any Martian religion, of course, to Islam. You have to convert. It's crazy. All right. This is about the dangers of what you said about the ADL pushing people to be extreme and all that. And once again, I'm saying that our biggest enemies are within us. Okay, second point, and we have about 5 minutes. Alexander, I'm gonna let you talk because I talk too much. So please look at these pictures now. No, not this, excuse me. No, not this, and not that, but rather, where is it? Okay, you know what, let's start with this. Oh, it's just ran out now. Why is this happening? MSN, please get off. And let me show you this picture. Okay, look at this, Alexander.
Yeah.
So yesterday, Trump had two speeches. One in the inauguration, formal. It's 250 years tradition to have the inaugural speech. It's one of the two main speeches the president can do in the US. Inauguration, when he assumes office, and
State of the Union.
Exactly. Also in January. Okay, fine. So after he did his inauguration, which was half an hour, and he laid out his plan, and he attacked Kamala and Biden sitting behind him and cringing and saying, oh, we're going to kill you. Why didn't we kill you? We only shot a guy. We sent a guy to shoot you, and the idiot missed you by an inch. Next time we'll take better aim. All right. So I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. They didn't say that. It's a joke. Okay. But then he went to meet his crowd in the Capital One Arena in Washington, tens of thousands of people. And Witkoff, his special envoy to the Middle East, and maybe he got the three girls released, maybe not. I don't know exactly what happened, or maybe Trump promising Hamas hell will break loose. So they were released. So he came and he said, I want to tell you what we did and how we did and all this. It was the most boring speech of my life. And I want to show you something. Trump actually fell asleep when he was talking, and Ivanka, his beloved daughter, sitting behind him, and she is stressed. She sees this huge screen. She sees her father falling asleep, and you see her texting. What the hell? Wake up, Dad. What is happening? Okay, fine. So then Witkoff at least did something good. And then he says, we have the families over here, and please come up. And they all came up, and they all went to shake hands with President Trump. I, screenshot of some of the pictures. You see, they're all passing by them with JD and Usha, his really fantastic wife. And then they stayed behind Trump for at least 15 minutes while he finished the speech. And everyone saw the families of the hostages for like half of Trump's speech to tens of thousands of his people. And for a change, there was not one voice dissenting or yelling Gaza, genocide, and all this BS that we hear. I loved it. And I want to tell you, Alexander, and then you finish the discussion. They got all this attention, the families, and I'm so happy for them. I'm so happy because they did not go crazy. They did not go to Simcha Rotman in the parliament and yell and scream, and they don't go to burn the tires on Kaplan. They were polite and they were respected. Take it over and finish our discussion because we have like 3-4 minutes.
Yeah. So Trump over-promised on what he can actually deliver very fast, and he had intentions of releasing all the hostages. He was talking about it since the war began, that he is in contact with some of these families, and he couldn't get it done. So he made a show of support to those that he could not release yet, with the intended message that he will make an effort to release them at a later date. So that was his way of not avoiding any questions about his not achieving the goals that he set in mind at the timeline that he did. Because having shown all the families in his speech, nobody can say that he did not do enough to release the hostages. That is at least how it appears to be.
Well, listen, he didn't say he's going to release. I would like to dispute your point of view. He didn't say he's going to release them. He told Hamas, if they're not released, by the time I take office, all hell will break loose. And somebody caused him to fail, and that's us, the Israeli government. They agreed to a deal. If Netanyahu would have prevented it and withstood the pressure and all that, don't take 33 hostages, most of them dead, and I don't know what the hell is gonna happen, and you leave behind 60, 70 people. I was going crazy when I heard that. So Trump was okay. Why do you criticize him? Why don't you criticize our government and our lack of thinking? All they had to do is wait another 1-2 days, and then Trump would be facing his clear words. All hell will break loose now because I told you to release them. You have my people. You have Americans. Your response, please.
He was made to understand that the force projection of the United States is not what it used to be, as was blatantly seen in Yemen. Even if he wanted to unleash hell on Hamas, his options would be quite limited.
No, excuse me, stop. I completely disagree with you. What happened in Yemen? He outlawed the Houthis on his first days in